Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Chuck Rogers, a licensed professional counselor and licensed marriage and family therapist.
And I'm Keith Dunn, and I have collars that actually sit down and don't bow or do anything else.
Keith's collars look nice.
I do.
He steams his shirts.
I have great collars.
And together we're tabletop coffee.
Yeah, where we are bold and never ever bitter.
And tonight we're going to talk about, is it okay to lose your cool if it only happens every now and then? Stay tuned, we'll talk about it.
Talking about losing your cool. That's something, I remember when I was younger and first married. And I have to say, there were times when I lost my cool. Nowadays I do a much better job. I think that
Yeah, you're pretty smooth.
Yeah, I think that my walk with God has really helped me in looking at things a little bit different.
I think so.
But, years and years ago, you tend to take things, and Chuck calls it a gunny sack. I like that. But tuck things away so that you let things build. And I think that kind of leads into some of what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Oftentimes I have people talking to me about this particular issue. And that there's a difference between being angry and having a temper.
Okay.
I think we're going to feel anger from time to time.
Right.
But how is it that you're going to deal with it? Are you going to deal with it and express it in an effective way or an inappropriate way? And there's a very big difference about that. And sometimes I'll have people to say things like, well, I don't get angry very often, meaning I don't have a temper very often. But and one time I remember Kim and I had this kind of a generational relationship with another couple. This couple was older than us, and he talked kind of gruff like this, and he says, "Well, I don't lose my cool very often." He says, "You can just ask anybody," and he called his wife's name. He says, "You can ask her. I don't do it very often, and then I'm fine. And then I'm fine. I don't do it for a long time anymore."
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
I'm really not exaggerating about how we talk.
Oh, I love the voices that Chuck uses.
And he said that as a justification for being inappropriately angry and going off.
So he thought it was okay just because he didn't do it very often.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So
that's where we step into a problem when we think it's okay.
Yeah. Not only, it's not okay that he does it, and then that he thinks that it's okay because it doesn't happen very often. Because, think about the damage that's done. And the example that I oftentimes give to people is like, well, great. That's wonderful. However, volcanoes don't go off very often either. But how many people want to go build their house by a volcano that occasionally erupts? Because there's so much damage from a volcano. There's the hot lava that destroys. There's the gases that go off. There's the ash. There's the cleanup sometimes, if you can clean up. And then just the destruction from it. Plus, who wants to be around a volcano that might be going off? So it creates emotional, relational distance as well. So I don't think that just because you go off occasionally gives you permission to go off.
No, plus you never know when that could actually happen. What is going to spark that?
Yeah.
And
so people start walking on eggshells around you.
Right.
It creates distance. It really destroys relationships.
Yeah, and thinking about, oh man, that's so good as you were talking about that and talking about the volcano and how it erupts and puts gases in the air. And some of these things from a volcano will linger and last for days, months, maybe some things that would even last years down the road depending on how bad the eruption is. I think that's true in a relationship as well. If it is bad enough, it could damage that other person so much, even though you've gotten it off of your chest, it has affected the person on the other side to a point where they're not sure how they're going to respond to it.
Yeah. I tell folks it's never okay to yell because yelling is toxic to the human brain. We as parents, it's never okay to yell at our children. Unless your children are going to step in front of a moving vehicle, then you yell your head off. Other than that, you don't yell.
Right. Well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So the answer to the question is it's really never okay to lose your cool and yell. So maybe you could give us some feedback out there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you've been that person who has had a problem with not just anger, but ineffective expressions of anger,
Right.
having a temper. Maybe that was you. What did you do in order to be able to overcome that? Or
Right.
maybe you're somebody who lives with someone who has a problem with ineffective expression of anger through a temper. Leave us some comments down below. We really would love to hear from you.
We would, and we might be able to build some other videos off of those comments, so that would be great.
Yeah, and subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate that.
Yeah, be sure and like it so you're updated. Be sure and like it so you're notified of upcoming videos.
Thanks, everybody.
Till next time. You know what it is? It's not a $150 shirt. It's the $150 shirts that do that crazy collar thing.
Sometimes.
And so this cheap Kohl's whatever shirt that I'm wearing that probably cost me $12.99 on sale at Kohl's at the end of the summer season going into winter because they were discounting them all.